Worksheet day 36. Again, we're under the business finance, how to read, analyze, interpret financial reports. Again, we'll have some tables and charts, so there won't be a whole lot of questions on here. And so just a couple at a time. It says using 2013 as the base year. So when we're finding the percent, we're going to use the 2013 amount, $105,000, as our base. So that's the number we're going to divide by. Given the projected sales increase for 2014 and 2015, calculate the following and round each answer to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. So I want to find the percent of the gross profit based on the $105,000. In 2014, my projected gross profit is $99,750. So we're going to take the $99,750. We're going to divide it by the 2013, $105,000. And I got to grab my calculator again. Don't want to do that in my head. 99,750 divided by 105, 123, gives me 0.95, which as a percent then is 95% of the profit from 2013. Then on 2015, our projected gross profit is 123,900. Again, we're doing it as a percent of the 2013, so we're going to divide it by the 105,000. Now notice here my projected profits are higher than in the 2013, so my percent's going to be higher than 100%. So if I take 123,900, I divide it by 105,000, I get 1.18, which then is 118%. So when this one number is lower than this one, I get less than 100%, but when it's higher than this one, I get more than 100%. Makes sense, right? So number 2, we're doing the same kind of thing. So number 2, again, using 2013 as our base, so using the $190,000 as our base, this time we're working it backwards. We're going to figure out what the projected net income is if we say that it's going to be 89% of this amount. So we're going to take 89% of the base to figure out what our projected net income is. So 0.89 times my 190,000 gives me 169,100. So I'm projecting my net income to be $169,100. For the second one, we know that our projected net income is 119% of our base. So 1.19 would be 119% of the 190,000. So we're going to multiply 1.19 times 190,000. 226,100. So our projected net income for 2014 is 169,100. For 2015, 226,100. Number 3 is going to be the same kind of thing. Using 2013 as the base year, given the projected sales increase for 2014 and 2015, calculate, and this time we're calculating the percent. So our base is 2013, our base is going to be the 394,000. In 2014, our projected sales is 358,540. We're going to divide that by the base of 39,000 or 394,000. And so if we take 358,540 divided by 394,000, we get 0.91. So 91% of 2013 is what we're projecting. In 2015, however, we project our sales to be $520,080. We're basing it on the 394,000. And so here our percent's going to be more than 100% because it's higher than our base is. So 520,080 divided by 394,000 is 1.32, which is 132% then. So in 2014 we have 91%, in 2015 we have 132%. Number 4, we are going to calculate the following 3 financial ratios for Silicon Microchips Incorporated. The current ratio, the acid test ratio, and the debt to acid ratio. Write the current and acid test ratios as decimals, rounded to 2 decimal places, and then write the debt to acid ratio as a percent, rounded to the nearest percent. If necessary, consult the list of ratio formulas. And that's going to be something where you can click on the list of ratio formulas and it's going to bring up a sheet, and the sheet looks something like this. So we were going to do the current ratio. The current ratio says take your current assets divided by your current liabilities. So current assets divided by current liabilities. I'm just going to abbreviate. So I'm going to look here. Current assets, my total of my current assets, $338,400. Then I'm going to divide that by my current liabilities. So here's my liabilities. So my current liabilities total of current liabilities, $131,600. So 338,400 divided by 131,000, is that a 600? 600 if I read that right. And so if I divide those, 33,8400 divided by 131,600 gives me 2.5714. We want to write it as a decimal rounded to 2 decimal places, so 2.57. would be my current ratio, 2.57. Now I'm not sure when I move the board to look back at my worksheet if it's going, or my formulas, if it's going to erase anything, so give you a minute here to make sure you got that written down. We need the acid test ratio. So if I look at my formulas, the acid test or quick ratio, so the acid test ratio, current assets minus the inventory and prepaid expenses over the current liabilities. Inventory and prepaid expenses are excluded because it may not be easy to convert them to cash, so we take them off. Current assets minus the inventory plus prepaid expenses divided by the current liabilities. So, yep, there, erased it. Current assets minus the inventory plus the prepaid expenses, all divided by the current liabilities, if I got all that. Current assets minus your inventory plus your prepaid expenses divided by your current liabilities. So my current assets again is the 338,400. 338,400. I've got to subtract my inventory, so my merchandise inventory is right here, 159,800, and I have to add my prepaid expenses. If I look here under my liabilities, we don't have any prepaid expenses, so we're not going to add anything there. And then we're going to divide that by our current liabilities. And our current liabilities we already found earlier, but I got to find them again. Total current liabilities, $131,600. So we got to calculate the top number first. 338,400 minus 159,800 plus 0 is 178,600. We're then going to take that 178,600, divide that by our 131,600, and we get 1.35714, so forth. We're rounding to 2 decimal places. Since there's a 7 behind there, we got to round it up to 1.36. So our second answer there should be 1.36. And again, give you a minute to get that written down because we have to go back and look at our formulas. And so the next one says we're going to go to debt to assets ratio. So if I go over here on my formulas, the debt to assets ratio, the debt to asset ratio just says we're taking the total liabilities divided by the total assets. Total, not current, liabilities divided by the total assets. The other one, remember, said current. These ones say total. So I first of all have to find my total liabilities. Total liabilities is right down here, 319,600. I'm going to divide that by my total assets. My total assets is right there, 940,000. So I have to take my 319,600 divided by my 940,000, and I get 0.34. But this one says write the debt to asset ratio as a percent rounded to the nearest percent. Well, we don't have to round that one off. We're just going to get 34% then. And so 34% should be the answer for the last part of that. So first one, the current ratio, we should have gotten 2.57. For the acid test ratio, we should have gotten 1.36. And then the debt to asset ratio, we are going to get 34%. And so moving on to number 5 then, again we are going to use those formulas off that list of ratio formulas. We got some different ones we're going to use on number 5. It says using the income statement below, calculate the following profitability ratios for Thompson and Thompson Advertising. Assume that the stockholders' equity equals $474,500. The total assets equal $730,000. So if we need those values, they're not going to be in the table. They're going to be up there on the top, and we're going to have to remember to go up there and get those. So first of all, we're going to do the profit margin ratio. So going over to our formulas. Profit margin ratio. So profit margin ratio, profit margin on net sales, which is down here. We're going to take the net income divided by the net sales. So net income divided by net sales. So net income, way down on the bottom. Net income, $151,200. Net income. Net sales up there on the top. $480,000. So $151,200 divided by $480,000. We get 0.315. We want to write the profit margin and return on equity ratios as percents. Round to the nearest percent. So this would be 31.5. We got to round it off to 32% then. So 32% would be our profit margin ratio. Number 2, return on equity ratio. So hopping over here to our formulas, return on equity ratio, net income to stockholders' equity. Net income divided by the stockholders' equity. So my net income is over here. My net income, $151,200. We're going to divide that by the stockholders' equity, which is up here in your problem. My stockholders' equity, $474,500. So 151,200 divided by 474,500, I get 0.31865. The return on equity ratio, again, we were writing as a percent, rounded to the nearest percent. I get 31.8, so I'm going to round that off to 32%. And then the third one wants us to do the asset turnover ratio. So going over to our formula, the asset turnover ratio says net sales to total assets. Net sales to total assets. So my net sales was up here, 480,000. I'm going to divide that by the total assets. The total assets were up there, 730,000. So 480,000 divided by 730,000 gives me 0.6575, so forth. And on the asset turnover ratio, we want to leave that as a decimal, round it off to 2 decimal places. Since there's a 7 behind there, we're going to write it as 0.66 then. So again, our profit margin ratio, we got 32%. Our return on equity ratio, we also got 32%. And then the asset turnover ratio, the decimal, 0.66. And number 6, calculate the following 3 financial ratios for Trendsetters Clothing Company. And these are the same 3 as the first 3 we did. The first one was the current ratio. So again, if we pop over here to our formulas, except our board wants to move. Keeps moving on me. Let me go click with the mouse. Then it should stay. All right, so if we go to our formula, current ratio, current assets over current liabilities. Current assets divided by current liabilities. So, total of my current assets, $379,200. Current liabilities, so total of my current liabilities, $102,700. So, $379,200 divided by $102,700 gives me 3.6923, so forth and so on. For the current and asset test ratios, we're doing decimals rounded to 2 decimal places. So we have 692, 2 is not going to affect it, so 3.69. So my current ratio would be 3.69. Then we're doing the acid test ratio. So the acid test or quick ratio, current assets minus the inventory plus the prepaid expenses over the current liabilities. So, current assets minus the inventory plus prepaid expenses all over the current liabilities. So, total of my current assets, again, we already found that before, $379,200. We have to subtract off our inventory. Merchandise inventory, $158,000. We would add on the prepaid expenses. Again, expenses would be under your liabilities. If you look, they don't have any prepaid expenses listed, so we just have to assume it's zero. And then the current liabilities, the total of my current liabilities, $102,700. So first of all, calculating that top number, $379,200 minus $158,000. And you wouldn't have to really do plus zero, but you could if you wanted to. $221,200. We're going to divide that by the $102,700. We get 2.1538, so forth. We're going to round it to 2 decimal places. Since there's a 3 behind it, we leave it alone. So 2.15 would be your acid test ratio. And the third one says the debt to assets ratio. The debt to assets ratio means you're going to do the total debt to the total assets, or the total liabilities, I should say. The total liabilities to the total asset. Your liabilities are your debts. Total liabilities to the total assets. So, total of my liabilities, $260,700. The total of my assets, $790,000. Again, make sure you do the total, not the current ones like we had on the previous test. $260,700 divided by $790,000. So 260,700 divided by 790,000 gives me 0.33. For the debt to asset ratio, which is the last one we're doing a percent rounded to the nearest percent. And that one, again, we don't really have to round, but 33% then would be our debt to assets ratio. So again, for your current ratio, we had 3.69. For your acid test ratio, we had 2.15. And for your debt to assets ratio, 33%. And that is the end of worksheet day 36. Again, just the next couple of things. Under business finance, how to read, analyze, interpret financial reports. All these graphs take up a lot of space, and the program doesn't like me to have too many pages. So check and see if you have any of those.